Welcome to Knightline, the morning after, on ESPN 580 Orlando, WDBO. Night Nation's only call-in show goes live now.
All right, hello, Night Nation. This is Andrew Phegley. We are back. We are live, and this is an interesting deal we're doing here. We are back at the 1148 studios, but broadcasting through the Victory Casino Cruises.com studio. We are brought to you by Chad Barlaw, raising the bar on what to expect from your personal injury attorney. Give Chad a call at 407-599-9036 for a free consultation, or visit chadbarlaw.com. You can call us and talk to us while you're at home in your seclusion of COVID-19, the 2020 craziness that we've got going on. 844-225-5580. We would love to hear from you on the Dever Team line, or you can text at 21232. Somehow Chase back in the studio as well will read those texts to us or something. Or you can get to me at AP_Knightline on Twitter. Welcome back, everybody. I've got Ben here with me in the 1148 studios.
What's up, guys?
How are you doing, Ben?
I am doing well. I am working through my social distancing. We are
6 feet apart, by the way.
We are about 6 feet apart, so we're good on. We're working through that. But yeah, it's been a good last couple of weeks. I've been working from home, it's an interesting time that we're living in right now, Andrew.
It is an interesting time. I think that we should just, this is supposed to be a sports show about Night Nation, but you know what? Let's just talk about that for a little while, because this is weird. Yeah. It's really weird. I never expected anything like this. I'm a healthcare guy. I've been a healthcare guy for 25 years or so. And this is something that I never expected in my lifetime. Now, I dealt with the H1N1 thing while it was going on in 2009, I believe. Mm-hmm. But this is totally kind of a different thing, especially with these stay-home orders, the shelter-in-place orders. You can't go to a restaurant. You can't do this. You can't do that. I'm still working. It's one of those things because I work in healthcare. I actually work in drug research now, so my industry is definitely needed. I mean, it's needed we have to continue. We can't stop doing what we're doing. We do trials on people, so on volunteers, I have to say.
Gotcha.
But it's different. We have to make our staff a little bit smaller where I work. Which is fine because we're kind of ramping things down a little bit, but we've got ongoing, stuff that we have to finish up. And, I get to work. I live in Sanford, and I drive to Orlando every day to go to work. And normally it takes me about an hour in the morning. It's taken me like 30 minutes now.
Yeah, that's got to be a huge difference for you.
Which is absolutely crazy.
Yeah.
And then I'm home, in 30 minutes, which is very odd. I love it. I love the gas prices are cheap. We were talking here before we went on air, and you said, you were talking about gas prices being cheap. You can't drive anywhere.
Right.
Flights are cheap. You can't fly anywhere. So
right. It's kind of an ironic situation. It feels the memes are really strong right now on the internet, and that was one meme that I saw the other day. It said we were listening, or we were living out an Alanis Morissette song.
Something. Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's wild.
This is one of the strangest things that have happened. I hope that Night Nation is staying and doing what you are supposed to do, whatever your municipality or whatever has told you to do. I think that personally, I think that everybody should heed those warnings and just stay as safe as possible. I know that there's people out there, some close friends of Knightline especially, that have some serious health issues, and those people definitely need to stay away from everybody else, and you need to stay away from those people, so it's definitely affected everything, not only sports. There are no sports to talk about, which is very odd. That's probably the most odd thing to me, and it hit me like literally the other day. Yesterday. Last night, I was like, what am I going to do? What am I going to watch on TV? I mean, I know it's been like that for a couple weeks now, but still, like, normally on Saturday nights I stay up late and I watch replays of all the stuff that I've taped over the weekend. I'm a big motorsports fan. I always have that stuff to look at. That's even stopped. Motorsports.
Yeah, like everything has stopped. And you start to reach those milestones, or you start to reach those important dates on the calendar that you look forward to every year.
Major League Baseball.
Yeah, Major League Baseball opening day was supposed to be today or yesterday.
It was
this weekend.
Yeah, I think it was Thursday, actually.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
So it was supposed
Thursday
to
or
be
Friday.
supposed to be in the last couple of days. Opening day was, and the U.S. Sports fan was deprived of that as well. I mean, when that Thursday came around and the NCAA tournament was supposed to start, and of course it didn't, that's when it started to hit me as well. And it's just been strange, because even as you mentioned, H1N1 and back in 2009. The way we communicated in 2009 was way different than we did today, or do today, I should say. And so we've got more information at our fingertips than we did even a decade ago. And that can be a very good thing, but it also can be a bad thing as well, in the sense that you don't know exactly, you don't want it to kind of cripple you in the sense of either over information or the wrong information. So it's kind of hard to sort through that. But we are, because of the technology that we have, has been advanced even over the last decade to an extreme point. We are better prepared for staying at home and still, as you said, getting work done. I've been working from home. It's going to be 2 weeks starting on Monday that I've been working from home.
Do you like it?
I like it in the sense that my commute's a lot better, and I don't have to think about my wardrobe that much. That's for sure. But yeah, it's been an adjustment for me for sure.
If you had the chance when this is all over to work from home, would you rather work from home or would you rather go into the office?
Well, I think one of the things that this has afforded us is that kind of trial run of working from home, and
what it would be like, because if you haven't ever done it, you would never know.
Absolutely. And so I would say, having done it for 2 weeks now, I would absolutely like working from home for 1 or 2 days a week. But I'm an extrovert. I'm a very social person.
Big social.
Yeah, big social. That's right. and I also my job I'm in product management. I'm in product development. It's very collaborative. I'm in marketing as well. So like it's you need to be with a group of your peers often, and so. That's certainly the type of job that I need to be face to face with people and collaborating, and that's the way I prefer it. Now, I do have a decent commute to work, and so cutting that out 1 or 2 days a week when I can is certainly going to be something that I'd like to do moving forward after this. And I think this time has afforded us to do that. And I think my situation is different, but it's also similar to many other office type workers in the country today, where they're trying this out. They're seeing what they like and they dislike about it. And then once we go back to whatever the new normal is after this is over, it'll be interesting to see what adjustments are made.
Absolutely. All right. I want to remind everybody, 844-225-5580. You can talk to us, 844-225-5580 on the Dever team line. Call us and let us know how this is affecting you. I would love to hear some of your stories, whether good or bad. I'm sure that there's some issues. They say when things like this happen, there's all kinds of issues, that we're more familiar with it in the state of Florida for hurricanes, because it kind of feels like that in a way, especially people hoarding things and buying all the bottled water and all that. But I'd love to know how this is affecting some of our listeners and hear your stories. They say that domestic violence goes up. They say that all kinds of stuff,
the truth,
because you're locked in a house with your significant other or whatever. I don't want to hear stories about domestic violence. I'm not saying that, but they say all kinds of things change. They say depression, sets in because people are social animals. We are social animals. So we're used to doing that. And then they say that depression and suicide rate goes up, all this stuff. And I think about, people that are fully involved in sports and then not having that anymore. I mean, it takes a toll on your mind, because that's what you go and you escape from normal life and reality and watch. There's all kinds of things. I mean, it's crazy. This whole thing is crazy. I hope that we get this settled soon. It's not. I don't think it's as bad as some people feared it was, and then it's worse than some people feared it was. I know on the news and stuff, and the doctors of the CDC and the NIH and all that predicted this to be much worse than it is, and it's been a little bit better than that, thank God. But it still is what it is. It's far from over, as far as I know. I sometimes wonder. I know Kirk Herbstreit said something on Twitter or whatever the other day that he would be shocked if football season goes through. That will be really bad for a lot of people if football season doesn't go through. I can tell you that. That'll be. I mean, for you, probably the basketball Final Four or the tournament was a big deal. March Madness.
Oh, don't make any mistake. I'm looking forward to. My family's looking forward to football season just the same.
Well.
But you're right. I hear you.
That's when it will. I mean, it's already hit me. Like I think I said earlier, NASCAR, drag racing, NHRA, those things, IMSA, the sports car racing. Those are the things that I watch when basketball season ends, or when, in this time. That's what I would be watching on Saturdays. And then even UFC fighting. I'm a huge MMA fan. And, I have the MMA, the fight pass from UFC. And it's one of those things that I watch constantly. And there's no live events on there, so it's just weird. And then seeing these empty arena events as well, that UFC did a couple more than a lot of other people, because they were one of the ones that really didn't want to stop what they were doing. And Dana White has tried everything to keep it going. But to see the last pay-per-view event that I watched, or I think maybe it was a fight night, it wasn't a pay-per-view, but it was in an empty arena in Brazil.
Right.
And it's just odd. It's just very odd.
Yeah, a few things you said there. You mentioned about the hurricanes, and us dealing with natural disasters before this, and then talking about football season. So the thing that makes this time so incredibly unique for us right now is that when we've had natural disasters in the past, or when we've dealt with a crisis on the national level, we talked about 9/11 before being a huge timestamp in history on all of our lives. There was always a time or a point where you're either looking at it coming like a hurricane, and you say, okay, so by next week it's gone, and we're going to be talking about it in the past tense.
Right.
When something big happened to us, we talked about it in the past tense, and how are we going to respond as a country and react as a country, right? And the sports world has always been a huge part of that. But what makes this situation so incredibly unique is we're sitting here in April, or excuse me, almost April. It'll be April on Tuesday.
Right.
And we're talking right now. We don't know whether or not the college football season is going to start on time
in September.
Right? Because we don't know when it's actually this new normal is going to start for us, right? And so that's what makes this situation so incredibly unique, is that we don't know when we're going to be able to start talking about certain things, let alone all of it in the past tense. And that's what I think a lot of us have a little bit of angst or anxiety about, especially us sports fans. But of course, this goes way beyond sports. And I will just say one last thing on the note of us being social creatures, and us wanting to reach out and interact and be with people, is that we're going to try our best to talk about some UCF sports topics of the day. We'd love to hear your thoughts, whether it be reaching out to us on Twitter or over the phone or whatever it may be. But in your personal lives, please reach out to those around you. Reach out to your families. Reach out to your friends. We've got technology where you can see them while
Skype
you can,
and everything else.
Yeah,
There's
Skype,
lots of stuff.
Zoom, whatever it may be, FaceTime. Reach out to your family during this time. Reach out to your friends during this time. I need to take my own advice on this front, and interact with them. Ask them how they're doing, and it's a good time to do that and catch up.
Absolutely. Those were wise words coming from Big Social there. Absolutely. Yeah, you need to do that. We all need to do that. I need to probably be a little bit better. I've made some phone calls that I haven't made in a long time, talking to some people. So, yeah, that's definitely a big deal. Chase is back in the studio. I'm going to ask him, Chase, how has this affected you? I know that you're still working, obviously, in the studio.
Yes, I'm viewed as essential, which is like, it's kind of weird saying like I'm essential without like thinking of it like in a Ralph Wiggum voice. I'm essential. That's horrible. I'm sorry I ruined that for you.
That's awesome.
But pretty much like I've been at least like I have the ability to at least like get out of the house every once in a while for the sake of work, but it's just crazy just seeing the city of Orlando just shut down just because of the fact like you were talking about earlier, your commute. Like I live in Oviedo and now it takes me about 30 minutes to work, if that. And that's not even speeding either. So I think the one thing that is unfortunate is the lack of sports. And it's like I've slowly realizing like the addict that I am, just because it's like, oh, there's no sports to come on. Oh, wait, there's esports. I guess I'm going to watch this. UCF has an esports team over on this game here or there, so I'll pay attention to that. But other than that, like it's crazy just restricting my travel, because at one point we were going to go to Tampa. This was before like when everything was like super restrictive, but we were going to
go. And you had a wedding in the middle of this as well.
Okay, so here's the funny part about all this. Like, so I had a wedding.
Should we take a break and talk about this after?
Yes, because we're going to go for a little while on this. So yeah, let's take a break on that.
All right, let's take a break and we'll be right back. I want to hear this stuff because a lot of things that people had planned were postponed. So let's take this break. We'll be right back on Knightline the morning after, and we would love to hear from you. 844-225-5580.
Sunday, Westwood One presents great games in NCAA tournament history. First, we'll travel to 2003 as a young Dwayne Wade carried Marquette to the Final Four. Then it's another all-time great making his first mark, as Michael Jordan's jumper gave North Carolina the title back in 1982. Hi, this is Kevin Kugler. Join me as we listen back to the full game broadcasts, plus hear from the coaches and players involved in those special March Madness moments, right here.
Sunday beginning at noon on ESPN 580 and FM 96.5 HD2.
This is Karen. She has an expansive piece of land where she saddles up daily, and she keeps it in shape on a John Deere 3E tractor. With attachments that hook up with ease, getting the job done is never a hassle. Whether she's putting up fence posts, grading her horse arena, or even cleaning up storm damage, Karen runs with us, because this is more than just land. It's home. Nothing runs like a Deere. Get a 3E tractor for just $139 per month at your John Deere dealer today. For additional cost information, please call toll-free 855-633-2316.
Hey, this is Travis Dever, Kai's Real Estate, the Dever team, New Smyrna Beach. Your source for real estate and everything else at New Smyrna Beach. Proud sponsor of Knightline and Knightline Postgame Live. Call me anytime at 386-690-1636. That's 386-690-1636. Let me show you my hometown, New Smyrna Beach, UCF's favorite beach. Go Knights and charge on.
At times like this, it's easy to realize just how much we take some things for granted. The produce person or cashier at your local grocery store, the teller at the drive-thru of your bank or credit union, or the chef or server at your favorite restaurant. Right now, lots of small businesses in our area are doing what they can, just like you, to hang in there. Some are working to serve their clients in creative new ways while working to keep their employees and customers safe. And some will even close their doors for the time being out of concern for the greater good. Do your neighbors and local business community this favor. Log on, connect with your favorite stores and providers online, give them a shout out on Facebook or Instagram and show your support. And when we get back to normal, they'll be happy to serve you and show you that you've never been taken for granted.
This message is brought to you by Cox Media Group and your friends at Burnfat Orlando, Certified Financial Group, and RC Hill Mitsubishi.
This is the story of a very special woman. In a matter of seconds, she turned herself into a great mathematician or an entrepreneur. Her knowledge was limitless and still is. She could also make monsters disappear, especially those that lurked in the shadows under the bed. Once, this woman put back together a teenage girl's broken heart, which had been shattered in 1,000 pieces, just by giving her a bear hug. She masqueraded as a regular person at work, but as a superhero at home. Everyone knows her as Gabriella. I still call her Mom.
Your hero needs you now, and AARP is here to help. Find the care guides you need to help, complete with tips and resources at aarp.org/caregiving. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Now you can listen to ESPN 580 Orlando on your smart speaker.
Alexa, play ESPN 580.
Hear all your favorite ESPN 580 shows just by saying,
"Hey Alexa, play ESPN 580 on TuneIn."
ESPN 580 Orlando from TuneIn.
And now, back to Knightline, the morning after, on ESPN 580 Orlando, WDBO. Call now at 844-225-5580 or text at 21232.
All right, Andrew Phegley back with you on Knightline the morning after. We are live, by the way. We're live from the 1148 studios and also live from the Victory Casino Cruises.com studio, the only legal sports book in Central Florida. Brought to you by Chad Bar Law, raising the bar on what to expect from your personal injury attorney. Give Chad a call at 407-599-9036 for a free consultation or visit chadbarlaw.com. That's another thing that does not stop during all this stuff, what lawyers have to do. There's all kinds of ongoing stuff, and there's going to be a lot after this, I bet, with all kinds of different things. So make sure if you have something you need to deal with after this or even during this, give Chad a call for sure. We're taking your calls, by the way, 844-225-5580. The phone lines are wide open. We would love to hear from you. Talking about how this has affected you, the COVID-19 thing, not just with sports, but with your daily life as well, because we're all human. Yes, we're on a sports show, but we're talking about this today pretty much. So call us 844-225-5580, and you can talk about that with us. Chase, we were talking to you before we went to break a little bit, and you were about to tell a story. You had a wedding and all this stuff during this whole thing,
Yes.
and how it's affected you.
Well, before we had the wedding, which we had it at just the perfect time where it was only affecting Seattle, and that was about it. And so I was just hugging everybody, and we even kind of joked about it. I was like, yeah, there's a bit of a disease going on, but I'm just gonna hug everybody. But then, as it started progressing over later on, our honeymoon was in jeopardy because we were going to go to Vermont. And slowly but surely it was okay, so now the cases are over in New York. It was well, we're not going to New York, we're going to Vermont, but we're flying into New York first. And then our honeymoon was on a Tuesday, and then on Sunday at 5:30, they send us an email that says, we're canceling some of the events. And when we later got clarification, they canceled everything. So now it's we had to get a refund from our hotel and our the airlines, which luckily both were very understanding about all this. But it was just the fact that I know that this sounds incredibly selfish, but it's just the fact that our honeymoon that we were looking forward to, especially when we were dealing with the stress of work, we couldn't get that. And so now we're just okay, well, what do we do now? There's nothing we can do.
Well, that's what's really crazy about this is because some of the biggest moments of people's lives have been affected by this. My stepdaughter turned 18 yesterday. She's supposed to go to prom. She's supposed to graduate. One of my coworkers, my boss actually, was supposed to get married on the 1st of May, and they wound up doing it early just to get it done, during this time. And it was the same thing with them. Their honeymoon's canceled. So all of these things, those are huge things in people's lives.
Yeah, and I think we were very fortunate after seeing all these stay-at-home orders, seeing all these quarantines. We're very fortunate that we at least got the wedding in when we did, because I don't think we could have been able to get a wedding in even a week after that, essentially.
Yeah, you would have been able to do it, but there would have been 4 people there, and that's not how you want to have your wedding.
No, of course not.
Yeah. So how is it? I mean, it's probably a little bit different working at the radio station even now, right? I mean, all of us are calling in remotely and all that stuff,
Oh,
so it
yeah.
has to be a little bit different. I mean, there's, they told us a couple of weeks ago that, nobody can come to the studio except, certain people and all that. And so it's definitely changed that as well. It's a good test of all the technology that we have, though, in a way as well.
Yeah,
I mean, we're learning how to use all kinds of different things that we never used before.
Oh, yeah, pretty much. I realize also, going back to my marriage, I think I've spent half my marriage in quarantine. So I don't know if that's a good sign or a bad sign. But, yeah, it's...
If you're still getting along, it's a good sign.
Yeah, that's true. It's a true testament right now. It's like, man, we're really testing the marriage already at just not even a month in.
This is like a boot camp for you guys.
Oh, my gosh, yes. I think, going back to your question with the radio, it's crazy just because, like, we have to be now... Like, everybody has to be a germaphobe, essentially. Like, I'm right now wearing gloves because I don't want to, like, get any contamination whatsoever. They're pretty much like, we're testing the limits of, okay, can you work from home? Yes? Okay, then let's do that. Like, we're really testing out everybody's limitations. Like, if you are not, like, an engineer, if you're not a producer, you'll work from home. If you can't go automated, like, if you can work automated, yes, then let's do that. But other than that, like, it's crazy to see how we're really distancing ourselves even here at the radio station.
Yeah, and what you just described is how everybody is I just wanted to acknowledge. I mean, that's a great example of how everyone is doing their part through this, right? I mean, we're showing how we can be nimble as a society and as a workforce. That's for sure. I mean, it's been a huge adjustment for me working from home, and that's I'm just one example of so many, and there's so many unique things of how we're utilizing technology during this time to still get some stuff done, even though the craziness is happening, and we're adapting, I think, really well. Everyone that I know and I hope everyone out there is adapting as well as they can, understandable during this time. And that is a curiosity that Andrew and I have talked about prior to going on air today that I wanted to bring up, if you don't mind.
Sure.
I thought it was really interesting. I was thinking about how my life has changed and how I'm utilizing technology like Skype and Zoom to have meetings still and work remotely. And prior to this all going down, one of the things that we were talking about most on this show was like Dylan Gabriel is like living in the UCF facilities. He's literally there 12 hours a day. He's watching film. He's working out. And now, where is he? He's in Hawaii, as he should be, with his family.
That's home.
That's home for him. Because all of the UCF sports players, all the students, quite frankly, were sent home. They can't go anywhere, right? They got to be home. And so he went home to be with his family in Hawaii.
What better place could you be, personally?
If I was quarantining, that's a pretty good spot.
I thought about going to Hawaii and just hanging out because the prices are so cheap. So, but whatever.
So what we were talking about is, Andrew and I played college athletics at a very different time than these student athletes play today. I remember Spira walking in with a cut VHS tape, and we watched film before practice on the upcoming opponent. We watched film on a VHS tape, and we just fast forwarded or whatever back and forth, and now everything's digital. So the way they watch film is all computerized. It's all on a computer. And so I'm curious if they're willing to do so. I'm sure the athletes probably have more choices here than others. But if they are willing to do so, I wonder if Heupel or the quarterback's coach is Zoom meeting with Dylan Gabriel and the quarterback staff and they're going over film sessions because they, quite frankly, have the technology and the ability to do that. And so if they're willing to do that, it's just a really big curiosity if that's happening at UCF or any program in the country, if they're utilizing the technology during this time, just like our other industries, our jobs are doing.
Yeah, and I also wonder how the NCAA is dealing with that as well. Mm-hmm. That's something that I thought about when you suggested this topic before. they have to regulate that somehow. I mean, like, they can't be on 24/7 talking to these guys and all that. I mean, and there was, spring practices, recruiting. How does this affect recruiting? Right. There's a lot of things sports-wise, that this affects. I would hope with the technology that they have, they're able to use that, and the NCAA acknowledges that. The NCAA has a lot of decisions to make as well. We were talking, I think before, even a couple of weeks ago, we were talking about them possibly giving eligibility back to some people, especially spring sports. That's interesting. This is going to change the landscape of how things are done, I think, not only with the way that people work, but the way that athletics and things like that, are dealt with. I mean, they're learning. Everybody is learning lots of things. Forced learning, unfortunately. If this would have happened during my time playing college sports, I wouldn't have had contact with anybody. I mean, we still had landlines.
Yeah, it would be impossible.
There was no Zoom. There was no Skype. A lot of people didn't even have computers, back then. So I have no idea how that would have worked at that time. So, yeah, I mean, the technology's there. I hope they're using it. I worry about football especially, and the way that Kirk Herbstreit said, I was about to say Herb Kirkstreet, but the way
live radio, folks.
Yeah, the way that he was mentioning, worrying about if the football season, I mean, are these guys able to work out? I mean, they're working out at home. No gyms are open anywhere. So if you don't have the stuff to work out at home, I guess they're going old school, doing push-ups and sit-ups and running and all that stuff. So how could it really, what's the football season going to be like if it does go on? Are there going to be more injuries? Whatever. So, yeah, there's all kinds of stuff.
I saw a workout video from Otis Anderson, and Greg McCrae posted one. So if any UCF athletes are listening, keep posting those videos because us fans need it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Need to see it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, let's take another break real quick, and we'll be right back on Knightline the morning after, and we'll continue this talk. And we want to hear from you. We got one guy on the phone, definitely, and we'll get to him after this. But 844-225-5580. Give us a call and how it's affecting you. All right, back just a second on Knightline the morning after.
Raising the bar on what to expect from your personal injury attorney is our commitment to you at Chad Barr Law. I'm Chad Barr, and as a UCF alum, I am proud to present Knightline, the morning after show, Central Florida's only call-in show dedicated to our UCF Knights every Sunday morning at 10 a.m. And remember, if you or a loved one are injured in an auto accident, call us at 407-599-9036 to schedule your free consultation or visit us at chadbarlaw.com. Our clients come to us in need and leave as family. Offices Altamont Springs. Go Knights, charge on.
At times like this, it's easy to realize just how much we take some things for granted. The produce person or cashier at your local grocery store, the teller at the drive-thru of your bank or credit union, or the chef or server at your favorite restaurant. Right now, lots of small businesses in our area are doing what they can, just like you, to hang in there. Some are working to serve their clients in creative new ways while working to keep their employees and customers safe. And some will even close their doors for the time being out of concern for the greater good. Do your neighbors and local business community this favor. Log on, connect with your favorite stores and providers online, give them a shout out on Facebook or Instagram and show your support. And when we get back to normal, they'll be happy to serve you and show you that you've never been taken for granted.
This message is brought to you by Cox Media Group and your friends at Burnfat Orlando, Certified Financial Group, and RC Hill Mitsubishi.
Spice up your company with homemade marketing services from Tasty Gravy Creative. Tasty Gravy serves up a menu of budget-friendly marketing, graphic design, and public relations services customized to your specific goals. Co-owned by a UCF graduate, Tasty Gravy can help refresh your brand, strengthen your online presence, or reinforce your company's message. Contact Tasty Gravy for help with your website, social media, marketing, advertising materials, and more. Visit tastygravy.com.
This is the story of a very special woman. In a matter of seconds, she turned herself into a great mathematician or an entrepreneur. Her knowledge was limitless and still is. She could also make monsters disappear, especially those that lurked in the shadows under the bed. Once, this woman put back together a teenage girl's broken heart, which had been shattered in 1,000 pieces, just by giving her a bear hug. She masqueraded as a regular person at work, but as a superhero at home. Everyone knows her as Gabriella. I still call her Mom.
Your hero needs you now, and AARP is here to help. Find the care guides you need to help, complete with tips and resources at aarp.org/caregiving. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Night Nation, this is Adam, one half of the dynamic duo that is the Sons of UCF, which is found only on the Knightline Sports Network. Join UCF Mike and I each week as we bring you some of the latest from in and around UCF sports, including such great segments as the Josh Heupel Translator, Top 8 Lists, and Cow of the Week. We'll also bring you some of the most in-depth and unique interviews with some of your favorite former Knights. You don't want to miss a moment, so make sure you subscribe to the Knightline Sports Network wherever you get your podcasts, and we'll take care of the rest. Go Knights. Charge on.
Whether it's on AM 580, FM 96.5 HD2, Alexa, or Google Home, we are everywhere you hear audio. ESPN 580 Orlando, Orlando's home for the biggest events in sports.
And now, back to Knightline, the morning after, on ESPN 580 Orlando, WDBO. Call now at 844-225-5580 or text at 21232.
All right, this is Andrew Phegley back with you on Knightline the morning after, and we are coming to you from both the 1148 studios here and the VictoryCasinoCruises.com studio as well. Brought to you by Chad Bar Law, raising the bar on what to expect from your personal injury attorney. Give Chad a call, 407-599-9036 for a free consultation, or visit chadbarlaw.com. We're also taking your calls, 844-225-5580, to talk about this on the Dever team line, or your text, which Chase can read to us from the studio. Chase is in the studio. Ben Big Social 32 is with me here, Ben Stout. And we have Roger on the phone line. Roger, are you there? Roger Knight Bengal.
I am. Good morning, boys. Can you hear me?
Good. Yeah, good morning. How are you?
Morning.
And we've been I don't know if you've been listening or not. You're normally on here with us, but you couldn't make it down this time. How is this affecting you, besides not being here with us today in the 1148 studios?
Well, for me, a big part of this is travel, right? So for those that don't know, I live in the Panhandle, and I commute back to Orlando most weekends, and which is why I can participate on the show live. But my family and my kids are actually in Orlando, so for me, on a personal level, I'm not able to travel back to visit with them. From a professional level, I've spent I worked, this is the first weekend I've had off since the 15th. We worked through getting all of our folks starting on the 15th to transition to working from home. So we have offices in Nashville, we have offices here locally in Miramar Beach, California, et cetera. So for me, in my role with the company, it was getting everyone prepared, ready, so that we did not see any fall off at work, especially because, like Ben, part of what we do is marketing. So all of our clients, they've had to pivot, their financial institutions, and they've had to pivot and communicate with all of their people because they're considered essential as well, just like Chase. So it's been a lot of hard work for us. So the primary effect is, one, can't travel to be with my family, can't travel to be with you guys. I miss you guys. And then
we miss you too, buddy.
We miss you.
Thank you.
As much as we don't really want to admit that, we miss you.
But from that perspective, a lot of work. As it pertains to UCF, I mean, I'm a season ticket holder. You guys know that, for multiple sports, the most relevant for football as well. So if we don't have a season for whatever reason, I don't even want to speak that into existence, But what does that look like for UCF? Because now, if we've got what we're going through immediately, like right now, what's happening right now, but once we get past this, how does this affect, UCF's ability to generate revenue for the university and for the athletics programs? Because Danny White, he kind of talked a little bit about that. That if we lose the football season, that's a huge deal for non-revenue sports. So the golfs of the world that are championship level, the tennis, the baseball, even the non-revenue sports. The big question to me is, depending on how long this goes and if it eats into the football season, how does that affect us financially as an athletics program?
Absolutely, yeah. That's a big thing that we definitely need to figure out. Obviously, I'm sure that Danny White is working on that while he's working from home as well. We saw a message from him the other day on Facebook and Twitter and all that stuff coming from his house. It has to be. That's a huge concern, I think, for revenue. I mean, all those basketball games, well, a couple basketball games that they probably would have gotten revenue. They would have gotten revenue from the tournament. With the American teams being in the tournament. If football gets messed up, oh my goodness, what kind of revenue would that, ruin? So
yeah, I mean they've lost the NCAA so NCAA as a whole, right? So the two huge revenue generators to end the year. You got the NCAA tournament, which is by far in the spring, number one. We're talking billions of dollars here. And then the College World Series is one that everybody, a lot of people are there in Omaha, but there's a lot of eyeballs.
And that's a lot of revenue
TV.
for Omaha.
Absolutely,
I mean, huge.
So yeah, you're right. So the city of Omaha is certainly decimated by that, or at least they're going to be. They feel the effects of that once that comes around. Now, also, but when you talk about the start of football season, you're talking every weekend is like a College World Series event, like in the sense of the revenue and the amount of attention it gets. Every single weekend is exponentially one of those events. That's the type of impact and the type of money that we're talking about there. It's wild when you think about that possibility.
Well, every football game, every home football game is a couple $1 million for UCF.
Yeah, I think it might be even more than that. It's the reason why the 1-and-1s are so important for Danny White.
Yeah, Roger, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I mean, when you're talking about lost opportunity, we don't get paid on our TV contract for those games either. And those are huge. If we don't put those games on, not only are we losing that revenue from the stadium, which we still have debt service to pay on, right? But you also are losing the TV revenue. And the longer that goes, if we miss, 1, 2, 3, however many games, each game is worth a set amount for those contracts. So, they're losing revenue every time that happens. And then the flip side of it is, okay, well, let's say, athletics has to take a back seat. We've got all these extra scholarships now that we're covering because of increased eligibility. We have the state funds, the university system, and, the state of Florida makes its money on tourism. I mean, the reason why we have low property taxes is because we have the tourist tax, right, and especially in the city of Orlando. So what happens now, thinking on now an even larger scale, the state university system is funded by that. We have, obviously, as a university, we have money tucked away in an endowment that we can leverage to help athletics or the university pay the bills and debt service that it has as we get through this. But if the state doesn't have as much money because it's being drained because we're not getting the tourist tax dollars in there, any support that they could provide could be limited as well. So it's the longer this goes, the more that it has a larger effect because our athletics programs, yes, we're saving travel costs. Yes, we're saving. Unfortunately, the student athletes don't have access to a lot of the facilities, the food facilities and all that other stuff that they normally would. But then you're talking about additional scholarships for the seniors because I think that's the right thing to do. Let me say this about that. We absolutely should extend eligibility for those student athletes that have worked so hard to get to this and have lost time. But that's going to be added expense that wasn't budgeted for to the athletics program as well. So I don't know if it's going to be something where we're going to have to, as a fan base, once we right the ship per se economically for ourselves, if we start having to increase our donations, or we have a donation drive specifically to make up for some of the shortfalls in athletics and in the university as a whole.
Absolutely. You make good points there. Absolutely, 100%. We're going to take a little bit of a break right here, and we're going to be back on Knightline the morning after. Thank you, Roger, for calling in for sure. We wanted to talk to you, and we miss you as well. Hopefully you can be back down here next week. 844-225-5580 if you want to talk to us about this. We'll be right back on Knightline the morning after.
Sunday, Westwood One presents great games in NCAA tournament history. First, we'll travel to 2003 as a young Dwayne Wade carried Marquette to the Final Four. Then it's another all-time great making his first mark, as Michael Jordan's jumper gave North Carolina the title back in 1982. Hi, this is Kevin Kugler. Join me as we listen back to the full game broadcasts, plus hear from the coaches and players involved in those special March Madness moments, right here.
Sunday beginning at noon on ESPN 580 and FM 96.5 HD2.
This is Karen. She has an expansive piece of land where she saddles up daily, and she keeps it in shape on a John Deere 3E tractor. With attachments that hook up with ease, getting the job done is never a hassle. Whether she's putting up fence posts, grading her horse arena, or even cleaning up storm damage, Karen runs with us. Because this is more than just land. It's home. Nothing runs like a Deere. Get a 3E tractor for just $139 per month at your John Deere dealer today. For additional cost information, please call toll-free 855-633-2316.
It's Spring Madness at Greenway Dodge and Greenway Ford. Dodge Scat Packs up to 20% off. Ford Mustangs up to $8,000 off. Up to $5,000 over KBB for your trade-in. One destination, East Colonial and 417. Or shop GreenwayDodge.com and GreenwayFord.com. Greenway, the only way.
The Orlando Boat Show is now the No-Show Boat Show, March 27th through 29th. Huge super boat sale at each of 27 of Central Florida's best dealers, representing over 100 manufacturers all over Central Florida. No crowds to worry about, or exceptional savings in a private setting at the dealership. Special boat show discounts on all boat lines and models with special incentives and financing. Boating, fishing, and recreating on the water are a great way for families to social distance and have lots of fun at the same time. The Boat Super Sale you can't afford to miss. Find participating dealers at OrlandoBoatShow.com.
I'm Jeff Allen. Join me each and every week on the Knightline Sports Network for the AAC Report. We bring you in-depth coverage of each school in football, basketball, baseball, softball, soccer, golf, tennis, and more, as well as bring you insider interviews and focus in on the biggest games and news of the week. That's all right here each week on the AAC Report, only on the Knightline Sports Network.
This is the story of a very special woman. In a matter of seconds, she turned herself into a great mathematician or an entrepreneur. Her knowledge was limitless and still is. She could also make monsters disappear, especially those that lurked in the shadows under the bed. Once, this woman put back together a teenage girl's broken heart, which had been shattered in 1,000 pieces, just by giving her a bear hug. She masqueraded as a regular person at work, but as a superhero at home. Everyone knows her as Gabriella. I still call her Mom.
Your hero needs you now, and AARP is here to help. Find the care guides you need to help, complete with tips and resources at aarp.org/caregiving. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
I asked what kind of family she wanted. She said, a family like yours.
Learn more about adopting a teen at adoptuskids.org. You can't imagine the reward. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
Whether it's on AM 580, FM 96.5 HD2, Alexa, or Google Home, we are everywhere you hear audio. ESPN 580 Orlando, Orlando's home for the biggest events in sports.
And now, back to Knightline, the morning after, on ESPN 580 Orlando, WDBO. Call now at 844-225-5580 or text at 21232.
All right, back on Knightline the morning after. This is Andrew Phegley live from the 1148 studios and the Victory Casino Cruises.com studio, the only legal sports book in Central Florida. Brought to you by Chad Barlaw, raising the bar on what to expect from your personal injury attorney. Give Chad a call, 407-599-9036, for a free consultation or visit chadbarlaw.com. We're also taking your calls, 844-225-5580, to talk with us on the Dever team line, 844-225-5580. I got a text earlier, or we were doing a little promo for our show this morning, which you did, thank you. And our good friend Eric Henry sent us a message. A long-time listener, first-time caller, which is, I don't know if that's qualifies as a call being on Twitter, but we'll take it. He said, whether it's a positional battle or development from one year to the next, which players are most affected by the lack of spring ball? He says, I'll hang up and listen. Thank you very much for that, by the way. I mean, I don't know, honestly, who would be. I mean, I would think maybe
I've got a few.
For me, I think the offensive linemen may have a little bit of an issue because of the nutrition that they need, bigger than anything else, to be honest with you. I think they're trying to gain weight. They're trying to gain the right weight. They need to be working out. If they're not working out and they're gaining weight otherwise, there's going to be a lot of people that are out of shape.
Yeah.
Quarterbacks would be another because they need to be throwing the ball, working with their wide receivers. That's a really big deal. We've seen the video. There was a video from Dylan Gabriel on the beach the other night, with a beautiful Hawaii sunset, throwing the ball. And a couple people were like, oh, is that McKenzie he's throwing the ball to? You pointed out actually on that thread that no, that guy's left-handed as well. So that's probably one of his brothers, I think is what you said.
Yeah.
But that's my opinion on that. I definitely think it hurts everybody, though. But those two position groups, I think, would be the biggest as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, I hadn't thought about the offensive lineman. That's a good point. And mainly, and as you said, on the nutrition front, because you don't want the offseason to be extended for those guys. You don't want them to get out of shape, which, with guys of that size, getting out of shape is certainly not a good thing, and we know that we've got some.
And it's a very fine line with those guys.
Yeah, it really is.
It was a fine line with me when I was playing with nutrition,
right.
And if it wasn't provided and set out for me every single thing that I was going to eat, I would gain body fat or lose muscle or whatever, and so that's a big deal.
Yeah, so I was trying to think of the answer to this, or my answer to this question, on a specific player level, and two guys initially came to mind, and then eventually a third. So first was Dylan Gabriel, as you said. Not necessarily that we think that he needs to make this humongous jump this year. I think a lot of that is him just getting more comfortable, which, hey, that could affect him being out. But we saw that he was in the facility, as I mentioned, 12 hours a day. He was really living, eat, sleeping, and breathing UCF football. And so certainly Dylan Gabriel and his relationship with his new offensive line, especially the center position, and his receivers. And on that receiver front, the Oklahoma transfer, Jalen Robinson, I know that he's been with the program for a year now, him transferring from Oklahoma, but he's a guy that I think that we are expecting some big things in this upcoming season, and he probably hasn't got a ton of reps with Dylan Gabriel or with his fellow receivers because he was probably on the scout team last year because he had to be. He was a red shirt. And so I think that he's one guy that came to mind. And then finally, I'd say somebody like maybe Johnny Richardson at the running back position, somebody who is probably looking to advance his position in that crowded running back room this year. He's somebody that probably is, among all of our players, really disappointed that he hasn't able to, make advancement during spring ball.
And obviously this affects the gelling of the team as well. I mean, with them not being around each other and they talk so much at UCF about how it's a big family. Well, they're not together. They're not gelling. They hopefully they're talking, text messaging, doing Zoom if they can, or Skype or whatever. but the chemistry is a big deal.
We have heard from players who have transferred into this program, into Heupel's program, that unlike any other program that they were accustomed to or whatever, we are a UC. I mean, we really breathe that UC family, UCF family that we talk about, and he really creates that UCF family atmosphere. And so you're right. That's got to be affecting them big time. And then just again on the wide receivers, Gabriel Davis was our number one guy by a mile last year, and we need to establish a consistent wide receiver, how they're going to play together with Gabriel. So that's interesting.
It will be interesting as well how the NCAA handles all this. If they give them more time, before the season, if maybe they start the fall practices a little early or whatever, or late, maybe the season starts a little bit later. Maybe we'll have some cooler weather football for some of these guys or something. I don't know. It'll be very interesting to see how this all plays out, and we'll be watching, obviously, and we'll be talking about it on here. So, very, very, very different situation with everything this year, not only sports, but everything else. So, any final thoughts here? We're getting really close.
I was just going to say, quickly, we talked to Anthony Roberson a few weeks ago on this show. We want to wish him well at New Mexico State. Once a night, always a night. And same with Cesar DeJesus, has decided to forego his senior year. He is graduating, which is fantastic. On the basketball team, he has decided to pursue basketball outside of college. And so we wish them the best, and once a night, always a night.
Absolutely. We wish all those people luck. We wish all of you guys luck as well. Thank you for listening. We wish everybody luck with all of this. Stay safe, stay in your house, and we will be back next week, and we'll talk to you then. Thank you very much for listening. This has actually been really fun. I've really enjoyed this. It's been a good difference. So
stay safe, guys.
We'll be back next week. Thank you, Chase, in the studio. We'll see you next week on ESPN 580 Orlando.